again, and welcome back to Denver Wellness Digest. As always, Chris Perez here, bringing you tips to try and improve your life. You know, this week, as sometimes happens in my own home, I woke up to an article that my wife sent me before I even had my first cup of coffee. And the article was titled, "The 3 Words That Parents of Teens Need to Know Right Now." And for us, we have 3 teenagers. So that was a really engaging headline. It really pulled me in. And as I was reading through the article, it was discussing teen mental health after the reopening from the pandemic. I know we're all getting a little bored of hearing about the pandemic, but the after effects are still trickling in, right? For the past year, our kids have been doing hybrid or online school. They've been home and in their rooms a lot of times for hours and hours on end. And now that it's summer break, a lot of kids' teens are just gravitating right back to the screens. They're playing video games, staying up all night. My own wife found our 13-year-old making a snack at midnight the other night. She works later hours sometimes and just happened to catch him. Who knows how many nights a week that's happening? I know that when we interact with him, he's bleary-eyed, grouchy, pretty much communicates in a series of grunts and groans. He's just in a really bad mood all the time. I would be too if I was sleeping 3 or 4 hours a night. Wouldn't you? And so, these challenges of interacting and engaging with the teenager have only seemed to have gotten harder. And really, this time in their lives is crucial for developing social and emotional habits that will contribute to their well-being for the rest of their lives. Things like developing a healthy sleep schedule, learning problem-solving skills, learning interpersonal skills, learning to manage emotion. And I don't know that they've really been able to develop that over the past year, and now my concern is what's going to happen going into the summer. For those of you fortunate enough to have kids that are active in sports, that's a great way for them to get their social interaction. For those of us whose kids are just not really that athletic, who they don't really have any outdoor passions, it's been a lot more challenging. So we know that this time period is key for social development. We've talked about how difficult it's been over the last year. Well, what next? Really, the whole reason that I wanted to talk about this today is because, and really all of this becomes important because we're seeing a spike in mental health issues in adolescents. Just last month, Children's Hospital of Colorado declared adolescent mental health a pandemic. Over the last year, there's been a 34% increase in ER visits by adolescents for mental health. In Colorado, suicide is the number 2 leading cause of death for kids aged 10 to 24. As we've said before, 50% of mental health conditions occur while kids are in their adolescence, ages 14 and below. And we also know that only 22% of youth with a mental health condition receive help. All of that alone is staggering. That's enough for me to not even need the 3 words that the article recommended. But here I was reading this article and waiting to see what 3 words they were going to use. And as I was reading it, I really related to a lot of what was written in it. I've got the article attached below. And as I'm reading through the article, I keep waiting for what 3 words is this author going to use? What 3 words are so key? And finally there it was. Ask for help. That's it. My 13-year-old is now seeing a therapist. We waited 4 to 6 weeks to get an appointment with a therapist that would see an adolescent. And their input was very helpful. We really just wanted reassurance. Were we using the right disciplinary tools to model the behavior we wanted? Were we giving the support as much as we possibly could? Were we being reasonable? These were all questions that we just didn't have an answer to. And again, I work in a mental health realm. And so if you take away anything from this video, you're not alone. There are millions of parents dealing with the same thing right now. If you're able to, seek out help for your teen. You know, that doesn't necessarily have to be a professional. Ideally, it might be. But if there's a coach or another person of authority that your child respects and trusts, they may be able to talk to them in a safe and unthreatening way. And if you can, make sure your teen is getting outside and being active, getting enough sleep, and not just hiding in their cave all day. If you liked what you saw, click like and subscribe below, and I'll see you next time.